Well, hello everybody. Welcome to my latest stream. Hopefully you can see the sound okay. It looks like it's recording okay. I've got a slightly different sound setup than I've had before. I'm actually using an XLR lapel microphone that's connected up through my mixer. I also have my Samson microphone ready to go if I need to use that as well, depending on how I want to sound. It actually sounds much better than the lapel, but right now I think I'm pretty good. Hopefully everybody can hear me and there's no issue with that right now. Let me see what I have going on here. I think we have, this window's kind of big. I gotta shrink it down a little bit so I can be within the frame of the screen here. So what I'm going to cover tonight is one primary thing, and that's basically a legacy PC that I have that's going to go into a case that I had on a previous live stream had cycled out of use. It was in my wife's previous PC that I had built actually prior to having my YouTube channel, and I'm going to reuse that case. Let me click on this so you can see what I'm talking about. So what you should be seeing now is what's on the table here. And I have this case from my wife's old computer. I have this motherboard, which is actually a rather old Asus board. It's got a i7 4th gen. I think it's a 4770 or something like that CPU on it. It also has 16 gig of memory, DDR3 memory, and I've already got the cooler on it. So the cooler and the memory, last time I used this, they worked fine. The thermal paste actually had gotten changed not too long ago, so I don't see any need to have to pull it off. I think 3 or 4 months before I took it out of circulation, I had replaced it. So this all worked prior to this. So hopefully when I put it into this case, it should continue to work. I have here the I/O shield. Now I had to actually, when I bought this motherboard, it didn't come with an I/O shield, but I found one on eBay and I was able to get this I/O shield. And the first company I ordered it from, believe it or not, didn't send it to me. So I had to, took forever. So I ordered another one, and then I got the second one I ordered, but then lo and behold, not too long after that, I got a second one. So I got 2 of these. Backup, I guess, but I don't think I'll ever have another motherboard like this anytime soon. So if somebody could let me know if they can hear my sound okay, just to confirm that everything's good with the sound, because I did change things. And I'll now proceed to install this motherboard into this case. And I have the power supply also over here. It's what they refer to as a ketchup and mustard cable. It's a low-end power supply, but it is 450 watts from Roswell. So it is a pretty good power supply. It's just not meant to be dressy. Now my daughter could care less about the RGB. So the fact that this particular cooler has RGB, but it's not controllable. It goes through its own patterns. It's not going to matter that much. As you may recall from the previous video, if you saw it, it does have a plexiglass side panel to it, so that it will be visible through here. But this will be probably 50% faster than the PC she has right now, which is one of those PCs that I had bought used, and it, thank you, Matt Mason. You can hear me just fine, Deano? Good, thank you, I appreciate it. So again, that's my lapel mic that's over here on my collar, and every so often I may switch over to the Samson mic. Both of them are actually connected to my mixer. So I have this gain turned all the way down on the Samson, and I have the lapel mic turned up to a level it looks like it's clipping a little bit if I over talk, but let me bring it down a little bit here just so I can get the clipping out. So now it looks pretty good. I see the green lights actually coming on as well. So I'll be checking every so often. Let me know if the sound drops off for any reason. But the first thing I'm going to have to do, standard PC, although we got a lot of stuff already in here that I see no need to take out. It's got a DVD reader-writer that was in this case before. I didn't take it out last time. That'll stay here. It's got a front fan, which happens to be PWM, but this motherboard doesn't support PWM, so that's going to be a little bit of a waste, but that's okay. The same thing with the back fan. It actually has a very high quality PWM fan, 80 millimeter in the back. So the front fan blows in, the back fan blows out. This thing is really not going to generate much heat at all. So we'll start off by installing the I/O shield. So if I bring this up like this, make sure it's oriented right. Remember the circles here, which are for the sound connectors on the motherboard, they go to the bottom. Okay? So let's see if we can get this in here. This motherboard has never been in this case before. So it means the I/O shield has not been in this case before. Let's see if we can get this without too much hassle. These things can be a bit of a pain, as anybody who's built their own computer can attest to. Let's see what we got here. It feels like it's snapped in place. That might be pretty good, right? Looks like it's leveled off at the top here, so I think we might have it. Now today's live stream, I plan on it being rather short. Ideally, I'd like to stay to within an hour, but we'll see how that goes. I'll take as much time as I can. There's a couple of more topics I'd like to talk, only if I have extra time. Right now I'm taking the screws. I had saved the screws to hold the motherboard in the studs. Let me just double check something. It is going to fit here, right? I should have done that before. Let's see here. It looks like it does fit barely across the bottom. I have to make sure that these cables on the bottom here stay out of the way. Let me get this out of here and get these cables out of the way here. That's the fan connector. Let me put this off to the side here. Let me throw all these cables off to the front so that there's nothing here interfering with it. Let me take the rest of these screws out. The thing has a total of 6 screws, 3 and 3. Push this through the top here. Now I like putting the power supply in last, as it doesn't always work out, but it should be okay in this case because it's already been in a PC, both the motherboard and the power supply in this case. So I think there's one more here. Right now they're finger tight. Hopefully they stay that way. Yeah, this one's still coming out. So I got 6 out. Now let me get this motherboard. Oh, one thing I should tell you here that I had to do. Because of the memory, I actually, when I put this cooler on, it has some fins. I don't know if you can see it in here. It has some fins that are going along the underside of it. And I actually had to take this out and grind it to make room for the memory right on this side. So I took it out, used my grinder, and I repainted it. And I used it after that, so I know that I didn't break anything. Let's get this in here. Whoops. I'll have to go in this way first. Like that, and then try to tip it in like you'd normally do. And it fits. Definitely it fits. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind, let me put one screw in. What kind of motherboard is that? It's a Intel motherboard, because that's an Intel CPU that's here. It's an i7 4th generation. I think it's a 4772 CPU. I actually had to buy the CPU from eBay. When I bought this motherboard, it had no CPU on it. I had a spare i5 that I pulled out of the HP refurbished PC. We upgraded it. That's the PC my daughter has now. And we upgraded that one to a 3rd generation. And this one's getting upgraded to, actually, no, we left it 2nd generation, but just i7 rather than 2nd generation i5. That's the PC that's coming out of service when this one is up and running. So this one's a step up from that. It's both an i7 and it's the 3rd generation. So it actually is not a 4th generation. It's a 3rd generation CPU on there. When we look at the BIOS later on, you'll see what I mean. So let me get one screw in here so we can get it to be held in place. I think the fingers are not touching anything, but I always like to make sure. Let me get one screw in here. But it's an old Asus motherboard. There we go. I just want to get that started so I can double check that the fingers are not in the way of anything. It's in. So now if we look at this, you've got to always check this, right? You've got to make sure that you don't have any fingers from the motherboard, from the I/O shield here, sticking into the connectors. So I don't think I see any right now. The fingers are right in between. You see 2 fingers right in there between these 2 right here. And the same thing for this. And back over here as well with the USB. And I think that pretty much covers it. Now this particular motherboard has VGA. So I have a VGA to HDMI adapter, which I just realized I forgot to bring up here. So we'll have to take a quick break once I get this in before we power it on. Well, she appreciates it. Yes, she does. I mean, it's something she needs. This is her ability to do certain work when she's working from home. If she were, sick or whatever, so it needs to be working. The one that she has right now has 24 gig of DDR3, but it's slower DDR3 than this one. This is faster DDR3 memory, so it'll be a big boost in that regard. Now, another thing I don't have today, which I'm going to be taking out of the other PC, is a NVIDIA GeForce 1030 low profile. Although this one I can put the high profile in. I do have the box with both the high profile and the low profile. The case it's in right now is a low profile, so I'll have to change that adapter before I put it onto this case. But it looks like it's in good. So I'll have to go downstairs and get the converter that converts from VGA to HDMI so I can connect it up to this monitor here. I don't have a VGA monitor here or the DVI monitor either. I don't have either one of those. All I have is HDMI. So now it's in with the one screw. I didn't tighten it all the way down. Let me put all of the other 6 screws in. Whoops, and I dropped one. Helps with a magnetic screwdriver, right? Try not to get my head in front of the camera. That's why I'm being careful here. I may have to do it anyway because I can't see these 4 screws too easily. Let's see what we got here. Go to the side a little bit. There we go. If you think I'm being kind to my daughter, wait till you see the computer I build when my granddaughter's a little bit older. I already told her she's going to have a supercomputer. You know what? I may have to pull this thing out again because I think there's a stud that has to be moved. There's no stud here. Yeah, I think I have to pull it out, and it's a good thing I only got 2 screws in before I realized that. So let me take these 2 screws out. So restart here. This happens. If something like this doesn't happen when you're building, you're just really, really lucky. So I have a stud that is missing here. It's probably in a different place, yeah. Yeah, this stud here, that's down over here, it has to go a little bit over to this one. So, I happen to have the perfect wrench for doing that. This is a 3/16, and I can just take this one stud out of here. And I can put it down to the next lower one. Oops, it fell out. Gotta start it by hand. This is not magnetic, this wrench. Oops. Hate to do things left-handed, but sometimes that's the only way I can get in there. There we go. Yep, so now I can just take this. And when you're moving a stud around, you don't over-tighten, you just make it snug, like that. So now I should have the stud in the right place. I'll come in here and I'll put this back in. Try number 2. There we go. It went in a lot easier that time. Okay, and do I see that in there? Yeah, I see the screw in there. The stud threads, that is. And let's get this guy. Again, I'll do it 1 screw first. Not all the way tight, so it's just in there. Come back up again, and we will double check to make sure none of the fingers have somehow crossed into the path of any of the I/O devices. And it looks like we're good. Those fingers. Does this fit here? Let me see. Yeah, that'll work. Got my Ethernet connector there. Okay, so I think we're good. I don't see any fingers sticking anywhere. Okay, now for the rest of the screws. start with the one that's down here. That was wrong before, no stud underneath it. Then I'll go way over here. I'm not tightening them, I'm going down almost to tighten, because that way it gives me a little wiggle room in there. There we go. I thought it wasn't catching at first. It just took some time. Now what I'm going to do at some point is put a TPM in here. Not today. I have one that will work on this motherboard. And what I will do is I will put that in and then see if we can pass the Windows. I doubt it because the CPU is only 3rd generation, but I'll try. I do a cross screwing of these things. You do this, you go crosswise, like tire lugs on your car, so that you keep the pressure on the board even. You don't want it to have any undue stress from one angle or the other, and thereby eventually lead to the thing cracking one of the lands inside the motherboard. Hey Catherine, how you doing? Welcome aboard. I didn't see you earlier on Jeremy's channel. I was wondering where you were. I'm glad you could make it. So the motherboard is in. Now, let me take the back off. I had left it on before. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Catherine. I'm glad you're well. I won't time you out this time like I did last time by accident. I promise. As you can see, I still have these cables tied up somewhat from the last time this case was being used. I'm going to do the cable management at some later time, to be totally honest with you. I just want to get everything connected for now. As you can see, there's got the tape marks all over this case from when it was last used. It's okay, that's not going to hurt anything. There's no visibility on this side anyway. I do have to watch out for this fan to make sure I don't get the cables caught up inside the fan. So I will have to somewhat dress this up to make sure it's at least out of the way after I get them all connected. Here's the front panel. And here as well. But let me go ahead and put the power supply in. Look at this, I have a fan splitter on here. I think this motherboard should be okay without that. Except the motherboard is not PWM as I recall, so we won't be running those fans optimally. So I'm reusing a case, reusing a motherboard, and hoping for the best. The other stream? Oh, you mean Jeremy's stream? Yeah, nail remover would do that. I also have, this thing had a lot of marks up on the front, and I just used something called Goo Gone. I forgot to check to do it in the back. I did it in any part that shows in the front of the case because we had a lot of marks up here before, right here in the front, because we had some stickers. And now it's all gone. There's some dust here now. But I was able to pretty much remove all of that marking here. Looks like I might have a little bit right here on the side here. I'll have to clean that up later. So let me get, oh, this is one of the ones where the power supply is up at the top. Notice that? So let me get this fan cable out of the way. And I'm going to put the power supply up in here. Before I do that, let me cable tie this one back to the way it was. So that that's, well, I can reach in there easily, you know what I mean? I got a whole bunch of new cable ties that I came in just the other day. So I'm grabbing a whole handful of them right now. All different sizes, because I'm using a lot of them all the time. When I'm cable dressing it on most PCs, I go crazy about that. It's called Goo Gone. Not sure exactly to spell it, I guess. G-O-O-G-O-N. The goo is the sticky that's left behind. That's the goo. And it's called Goo Gone. It's too bad if you don't have that, because it comes in very handy, the Goo Gone, to help get rid of things like that. So I have this power supply. As I said before in the beginning, it's mustard and ketchup. But that's okay. But the fan is going to have to suck the air out of the compartment. So that's something that is a little bit different with this case too. As I recall, the old legacy PC cases that I did years ago. Yeah, Goo Gone. I think it's one word though. Not 100% sure, but I think it is. Anybody know how you spell Goo Gone? I don't have it up here in this room right now with me. So I'm trying to tie these cables together. So that they're out of the way. That's going to be a pain. Let me do it the other way. Not a perfect cable job, but it'll keep it out of the way from wandering into the fan. That's what's important here. This is not meant to be a showcase at all. Why do I keep getting this upside down? That's why I try not to do too much cable management on a live stream, because I always run into the same set of issues with these cable ties. Again, the priority is just to make sure it doesn't get jammed up into a fan somewhere. That's good enough. Get my cutters. John O. Good evening. Hi, John O. It's okay. It's really not late for one of these things. So that's out of the way. Now I can go ahead and make sure that the fan cable is out of the way. For that one. And let's get the power supply in here. There we go. You know what? I forgot to take the screws off of it. I always make sure that I put the screws back on, and I forgot to take them off before getting committed to inside this case. There we go. I don't like to lose my screws like I showed earlier, so I always put them back on what needs them. This one being stubborn here. This one is like, hope it's not stripped. I don't think it is, but it's giving me trouble to come out. There we go. Like this. Turn this guy around, upside down, and then I should be able to get the screws in place on that. Especially power supply screws. I've said this in several of my videos. I like to always make sure I use the screws that came with the power supply. Now, although they're all relatively close in size, these 6-32, which is, not metric, it's an English-based measuring system for that. If they're too long, they could actually go into the piece, to the power supply, and short something out. Is this this PC is for your cats watching cat YouTube? No, this one's for my daughter, my older daughter. I had originally given her one of those two PCs that I had, which were the HP refurbished PCs. And she actually, with my son's help, they bought a better CPU. They went from the i5 2600 to an i7 2700, I think that's what they did. You have done worse. Finished a build and walked away to grab lunch. Then it dawned on me that I forgot to take the protective strip off the cooler. Yeah, that could happen. That could happen. You want to make sure you don't leave that in there. It definitely will cause a problem with the heating, but more than that, the thing could melt on you in there, depending on what processor you have somewhat. But okay, so now the power supply is in place, and let me go ahead. It's going to be tight quarters here. We don't have a lot of room in the back of this PC for these cables, so we sort of have to stuff them in behind these this section here where you would put like hard drives and such, and SSDs. I am going to put an SSD here. The storage I'm going to put on this one is going to be this 512 gigabyte Team Group SSD. Yep. No, 480 gigabyte. So I assume I'm going to be mounting that. And notice I have the screws on this one too, right? There's screws in here. I think I'm going to mount it over here, as I recall. Is it this way or is it this way? Now I forget. It's definitely not that way. Okay, where are the screws that line up with this? It might be way down now. That's not it. Is it these here by going underneath here? Yeah, that's it. I'm going to have to mount it to these four right here from the bottom so that I don't interfere with the connectors that are over here. Now this PC did have an SSD before in it. I just forgot how the thing was mounted. But I'll do that in a minute. I don't want to put that in yet. We got a lot of cables to wrestle with for a minute. One thing I did want to talk about that I may not get a chance to, it all depends on how it goes here, because I'm trying to keep this stream light on time, is this week I'm heading off to Los Angeles. I've said that in previous streams, maybe in a video or two. And I'm going to the VidSummit. And that's for video creators, primarily YouTube, but not just YouTube. And I'm hoping to meet a lot of the big creators out there. We'll see how that goes. I also am hoping I can meet some more vendors and cut some deals with them, you know, for sponsorship. Got the two connectors here. I have to connect them up together and then go into the power supply, motherboard power supply connector here. Now this power supply worked with this motherboard before. They came out of that other case that's now where my wife's computer is. That nice white case with the glass side to it. There we go. So now it should be locked into place here. Right, should be locked into place there. It's not coming out, so we're good. And then we got PCIe. Now I'm not going to need this PCIe. The video card that's going to go in here will be a what is it? I think it's a gigabyte. It's a gigabyte 1030. NVIDIA 1030 graphics card. It's right now in that other PC with a low profile connector for the I/O. So I'm going to have to switch it out to the large profile one, but it came with both. But for now, this one is not going to be needed at all for the PCI. And I doubt that we'll ever upgrade this to something that needs this, because that 1030 does not need it. So I'll just push this out of the way for now and take care of that later. We got various I/O connectors here, including Molex. SATA power, more Molex and SATA, another Molex and more SATA power. So we're going to use one of those. And then we got this one that is the CPU power, the 12 volts for the CPU. I wish it would say it on there, but that's what it is. Let me get my flashlight. I have it right here. So I want to run this all the way over to here. And the connector is on that side. Sorry I can't get a close-up of it. It's tight quarters down in there, but you can see it now. There's the CPU 12 volt connector right there. Connected in. Oh, it has another 4. This is actually available for this power supply to go to a CPU that needs 8 of them, right? But the fact that I had this on this motherboard before, I didn't need the other one, so I just tied it back. Put that on the side there. Tie these cables up in a moment so they don't get into that front fan. And that's that. Let me open up the motherboard layout for the I/O. I want to check something on that. I have for every motherboard that I own, I make sure I get the PDF of the user manual. That's critical to me. So let me go to where I keep those things. This was a build from, I think, 2019. Yes, it was. No, I guess it was later, 2020. I organized them by the year I built it. Yeah, 2020 in this case. Let me open this up and you'll see what I mean. And I'll go ahead and show that. So let me go to the screen. So you should be able to see that. Hopefully everybody can hear me. You ordered a lamp with magnetic base so you can put it in the case and have both hands free. That's a good idea. That's a good one. So you can see me on the little camera in the corner, and you should be able to see this ASUS manual for this motherboard. Yeah, again, Catherine, before you say it, yes, it is ASUS. She teases me about that all the time, that I like the ASUS. Did you get a chance to see the video, Catherine, that I put up this morning, Micro Center, where they actually cooperated with me in creating that video and assigned a sales representative to walk me through their build your own section? So far that video is doing pretty good in terms of its popularity. I've got probably, I was at 98 views before I started this live stream, so I might be further along now. Let's see here. Oh good, you watched it. Thank you, Catherine. Anybody else who has not seen that video, and if you're interested in what Micro Center has to offer. Now, I'm not getting paid for that. I should have probably said that more clearly. I said it in my notes, but I probably should have called it out. I'm just trying to get the layout of this motherboard here. Here we go. So I got the CPU fan, we got a chassis fan here. Is there another chassis fan, or did I have to put the splitter? Maybe I have to put the splitter after all. I don't see another chassis fan. See the CPU fan, which is a 4-pin PWM, but this chassis fan is not. Yeah, it looks like I may have to MSI. I have a couple of MSI ones as well. They were okay. The first one I got of that, a modern one, is in my the PC that I gave to my grandson. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm gonna have to split that one to the 2 fans. Okay. No big deal. I have the splitter right here. So I can put this splitter on for the fans, the 2 fans that are on it. And that'll go down into there. I'll do that in a minute. Let me get the other stuff done first. So I always like to start with the front panel connectors, and I believe this one has a pretty complete set of front panel connectors, this case. Yeah, I think it has everything up here. It has only USB, he's both USB 2.0 and USB 3.0. 2 USB 3.0s, believe it or not, 2 of those. It's got a reset switch here, I believe, and this is the power on switch over here. Whoops, I don't have that on. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So the front panel is pretty complete. 2 USB 3.0s. There's 2 USB 2.0s, the standard separate headphone and microphone connected. I believe that's the reset button here. And here's the actual power button with the light for the power contained it in here. Let me see, I believe we got all of the connectors on this one. Where'd it go? Oh, there they are. They're sort of wrangled in the back there now. I have to cut the cable tie that's involved with. Yeah, I got the cable going through a cable. That's not good. Yeah, let me cut these cable ties without cutting a wire, so I get them all freed up. And I'll cut this one too without cutting a wire. There we go. And that way I free up all the front panel wires. Why is one going that way? That's weird. There's one going all the way up to the top. That's weird. Okay, time to cut one there, again without cutting a wire. I had some hokey cable management here, it looks like. Definitely coming from the front panel, but why is it not running where the other ones are running through? Got one there. Okay, let me get organized here. Where are all these front panel wires going through? That one's going through here. Let me get them all organized. I got those. The other front panel cables running through here, so they're going around the side. Oh, I see. Some are coming from the power switch. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. So these two are coming from the power switch over here, which is the switch and the light. So both of those are that. So you have the power switch and you have the power LED are both coming that way. And then these two are the hard disk and the reset switch coming from the top. Okay, so we got them sort of split up here. Let me feed them down through here so I get them at least coming out of the same hole. There we go. So now I should have all 4 of them, right? And I need to get them down to the front here. It would be better to run it through here. Maybe so. Maybe these are better to run through this hole. That'll put them closer. Give me a little more slack. That's more like it. So let me try to keep them together. Let me try to get these guys going through the same hole too. How's that? So I can get all 4 of them. There's more than 4 wires there, but there's 4 sets. There we go. Now all 4 of them are approximately coming out of the right place. And then I'll feed them in over here. And then I will have them available to me on the other side. Right over here. There we go. So here are the 8 wires, 4 sets of 2. That'll have to go onto the front panel connectors. Let me take a quick look at that. I have that in the... Everybody can hear me okay, right? You wanted to stream today? You didn't stream though, Catherine? Let me see, here's the front panel right here, switches. It's 9. There must be there's a breakdown in here. I've seen it. I've used this as an example, I think, in some of my other videos, actually. So I know that that's the case. Where is it? Where is it? Memory. All the different kinds of memory you can support. Installing DIMMs. Oh, where's the front panel? Here we go. Is that it? No. Oh, that is front panel connector. No, that's the audio. That's the other thing. USB 2.0. Here we go. And I already have the speaker in there. I never took the speaker off the motherboard. I like those little speakers. And it's still in there already. Let me switch cameras here. Yep, that is audio. So if you look down in here, you will see the speaker is connected. Let me give it an angle here so you can see it. I have that little speaker down in the front panel area. So now we got to connect up the other wires. Okay, we've got reset switch and power switch on the bottom. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to pull this speaker off because it's in the way. So let me pull this speaker off. Put it aside for now so I can get the other front panel connectors on. And it looks like I need the reset switch and the power switch at the bottom. The two pairs that are down over there. So the reset switch and the power switch. Reset. Reset and power. That's the high disk LED. There's the power. So I got power and I got reset. Here are the two right here, the power and the reset. So which one goes where? Reset goes to the right from my angle. So too bad I can't show you this, but and then the power, and there's no polarity to the power and the reset, which makes it a little bit easier. There we go. And now we got the power LED. It's actually split up. The pluses are that way. So the two top ones are the power LED. Those are the ones that are always separate, but I'll put the other one on first, the hard disk. I see the positive this way, so this one goes down in the bottom on the left, like that. And then this one here, these two here, the plus and the minus, one goes here, that's a minus. Double check now, the plus. Okay, I think I got them all in there. Let me put the speaker back on while I remember. And it's the 4 at the top here, like that. So we got the speaker, got the front panel. Now I can do the others. Why they give me trouble here? I don't have enough slack. That would be a case, right? No slack on it would be a problem. So let me push those in. So now I should have the USB 2.0, the USB 3.0. That's this fan that keeps getting in the way. Tuck him out of the way somewhere here. I'm going to cut these these cable ties here. There we go. So now there's nothing in the way. Which one is which here? That's the HD audio. I believe that'll go all the way over. Double check with the layout on the switch. Let me go to the screen. Get past all of this stuff with the memory. I put the whole chart in here for what memory will work here, huh? Which Noctua cooler will you use for the server? The same one that I used in that other build, temporary build that I had done. I forget the actual name of it, but it's a low profile So the last time you saw me use a Notchua, it's the same one. So according to this, the audio, of course, is all the way in the end. Let me put that one in first. I look for the missing pin. Why is the pin not matching up? It says the audio is all the way down there, right? Front panel audio, all the way over there. No, that's USB. I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah. Here's the audio. They look so familiar. They got messed up here. Here's the HD audio. I guess now the missing pin is in the right place. I was looking at the missing pin and I couldn't see it in the right pin. This is the USB 2.0. We got 2 of those connectors in there. The missing pin is all the way on this side. So we got that. There's a parallel a line printer parallel port on that thing, huh? Okay, I think I got the hard ones done. Let me go back to the overhead. So I got these done. Now we got the USB 3.0. Where is the USB 3.0? Uh-oh, does this motherboard have a USB 3.0? I do not see it. How many watts TDP? It's a low one. I thought it was like in 70 or something like that, Catherine. But you know what? I don't see a USB 3.0 on this motherboard. That's not good. And where's the list of stuff? Got a TPM connector. USB 2.0. No, oh, that's right. I remember when I had this one, I had to put a USB 3.0 connector on it. I even have a cable for that. This cable here. That's right. So I'm going to have to do the same thing with this one to get USB 3.0. I'm going to have to plug these in to the board. Hopefully I have it'll be able to take both of them. I'm not sure. Oh, did the wrong one. Yeah, this cable here is what I had bought for that because this motherboard does not support USB 3.0. So I have a card that will go in here. It's a X1 card. And then this will plug into here. And then I'll be able to get, hopefully, both of the USB. Well, you know what I can do? I can always feed one of them through the thing and go through the USB 3.0 on the other side of the card. Because I know the card I have has like 2 on the outside, 2 USB 3.0s on the outside, and it has 1 on the inside. So I believe I'll be able to wangle these out. I don't think I'll get to that tonight. I'm already running late. I want to be done here by 10 o'clock. So let me just keep going. I'll leave this alone for now. I guess at this point, what am I missing? I'm going to need a SATA power and SATA data. So I got these. Let me go ahead and put one of these in right now. Which one is which again? I want to put the boot drive in the right place. These older motherboards get particular about that sometimes. So I want to make sure that it's it's happy. Oops, I didn't go down far enough. Let me show you what I'm looking at. A little bit more, here we go. So I want the -1, so the top SATA connector I want. Okay, so let me just go ahead and put this SATA cable in the top one. So I have it. And that way I have the cable here, and I can then put the drive in. Let me need a smaller screwdriver. There we go. Overhead. How's the sound doing tonight? I got a whole new setup, Catherine. It's now using a lapel, an XLR lapel microphone that's going into my mixer. So I'm actually going through my mixer right now, and I also have the Samson going through XLR through the mixer, although I didn't turn that on yet tonight. I'll probably test that in a little bit when I'm doing something else, but it's easier if I have a lapel microphone when I am trying to and then this will go up underneath here. I believe this is magnetic, right? Yeah, it is magnetic. That way I can hold it in there. The sound is good. Thank you, Catherine. The other people told me that too a little while ago. I just wanted to make sure it's still good. It's only a 6-foot cable though. I do have an extension for the XLR. I didn't test that yet to see if I put another cable on it, another 6 foot, will it interfere or not. It's also a lot thicker. The cable that's on this particular lapel microphone is actually pretty thin here. Look at this. That's for the lapel XLR. It's quite thin. So now we got the drive in here. I don't know if there's anything on this drive or not. I forget. We'll have to find that out. And then we'll go ahead and get a SATA power onto this. Nope, that's a Molex is not going to work, is it? That's not good. Let me find, here's one. Make sure the little L is oriented right in the cable, right? Like that. Again, I'm going to be tying all this up before I turn this thing on so we don't get a jam up. That's going to have to be tied up separately, the PCI. That one's going to be tied up with it, and then we have the SATA data. I believe it goes this way. Yep, that's it. And that one should snap into place like that. Okay, am I missing anything at this point? Can I tie the rest of this stuff back? Oh, I have the SATA up here for the DVD. Let me take a look at that. Is that something I can easily do here? Let me take this one out, put it on top. That way I can take this one and see if I can get it down here. down to the DVD. I'm putting stress on that. That's not good. Let me skip this one and go to the next one. Get the next one. Don't want to stress this thing. This is a cable mess like the old days of building a PC. All right? Because this case is not meant for really good cable management. There we go. So we're dealing with a mess. I want to push that down. There we go. Sorry if my head got in the way there. So now these power cables, I have all the ones I want for now. I'll push these out of the way and I'll tie them up in a minute. And now I need another data. And I'll use the second connector there. And then we'll plug the data cable into the DVD. Not too many people put DVDs in anymore. But as long as it's here, I'm gonna use it. And then I'll tie all this stuff out of the way temporarily. This will have to be tied out of the way as well temporarily. And that. Let me get some big cable ties here. Get a few of these big ones. Put the cable ties over there for now. Brings back old school on how we had to manage these things. There's just no way you can get this stuff in the back. There's no room back there for it. So we're stuck with this for now. I'll probably tie it up in the top there. I don't think I can do that easily right now. And hide it at the top of the case, outside of the view of the window. But for now, I don't think I'll be able to do that. Look at this mess. I think the important thing here is to make sure I don't cause a jam up or a short. So let me tie these all together for now. To one clump at least. That way we don't jam up into a fan. Again, that's for now. I'll be doing better cable management later. Get this organized. Push these up underneath here. So that they're all somewhat out of the way. way I can keep them just sort of up out of the way and they don't get caught into this fan. And then these down here I will tie together for the same reasons. I don't want them caught up in the fan. And I still got to put the fans on. I didn't do that yet. There we go. Okay. And then over here, I got two fans. I got a fan here, and I got a fan over there. I'm gonna have to tie this bundle up too, so we don't have a jam up in that rear fan. In the old days, all we worried about was making sure we kept the cables out of the way as much as possible to prevent restriction of the airflow. There was no such thing as plastic sides or anything like that. You just wanted to make sure you had good airflow. So that's a pretty good start. There's a lot more cleanup I can do with that though. And now we got the two fans. Why is that one tied up in there? I don't know. I may have to put another cable tie here to keep that out of the way. I'll utilize this little hole here. There we go. Again, I don't want that jamming up in the fans. It would help not to drop it. That way, nothing's in the way of a fan. So these are out of the way of a fan, these are out of the way of a fan. The air will blow in this way. And then I have these two fans I'm going to have to put through a fan splitter. Let me put the splitter in the one connector that we have down here. How's it going down there? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the NH-L9. Yep, Catherine, that's the one I used. That'll go into my 4U server. It's amazing how time goes by, isn't it? There we go, that's in. Doesn't really matter, these are both 3-wire. The actual connector is 3-wire, so it's not going to matter where I plug this into. Even though both of these fans are actual PWM, I'm not going to bother changing them out for now because I don't need those fans. There we go. So that's that. Now I can tie these guys up. Same deal. Make sure that I don't cause any kind of collision with a fan anywhere. Let's see. Can I get away with a little one? Might be able to. Yeah, I think that's good for now. May have to tie these up with a bigger one though, so that we're tied up to the other part of it. Yeah. That way it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, I think we're out of the way. Like I said before, this is a VGA, and I don't have a VGA monitor here. So I'm gonna have to take a quick break. Give me 5 minutes to go get the adapter that I have downstairs. The motherboard is compatible? Yes, it is compatible with that one. Catherine, let me take the turn the mic down so we don't cause any major noise. Okay, let me go get the adapter. Okay, I think I'm back now. Sorry about that. I got the little adapter, and this is a converter. So this plugs in VGA. It uses a USB 2.0 for power, and it comes out HDMI. So that way I'll be able to power it on, and we'll be able to see what it looks like. Okay, how we doing out there? Anybody have any questions? You have the NHL9A. Okay. So everybody can hear me, right? It looks like I'm broadcasting sound. Just want to make sure that we're good before I move on. Okay, I'll assume we're good. Oh, here's the goo gone, by the way. My wife was trying to slip it under the door. But that's what this is, goo gone. It's actually 2 words, it looks like. So I'll leave that over here. Yes, we can. Okay, good. Sound is perfect. Thank you. Okay, we're back. So now, let's see what we can do here. I think I'm ready to power the thing on. There's no USB 3.0. I'll have to find that card. I don't know what I did with it, to be honest with you. So I'll have to find that before I can do it. And then I will be able to test that out. Let me turn this guy around so I can connect up the adapter. This thing right here. So if we look at what we got, we take this. Notice we're missing a screw, a stud here. That's okay. That's the way that one's been since I got that motherboard. Plug this into the VGA, and then we find a USB 2.0 for power nearby, like that. And the last time I used this, it worked, so hopefully we're good. I can only tighten one down. And then what I will do is I will get the HDMI cable that's connected up to this monitor right here. And I'll plug that in. It's recognized by the monitor. I will say yes to giving it. Let me get some power. Okay, so it did recognize it. That's good. And that's without power connected. That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, you could do that too, directly to the USB 2.0. I don't have one of those handy right now. So plug the power supply in here. Turn this on. And there's a little light supposed to come on. There it is. You see that little light back in there? When the motherboard has power, that's what you get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this top camera around so that you can see it. Let me disconnect it from this. Get the mic out of the way. Let me put my little mini tripod on this real quick. I know we're jiggling all over the place, but I want to get a steady view of the monitor as we come up. There we go. Oh, by the way, this cable also has sound on it, so it has an actual sound connector to it as well. Stereo sound, that's coming off that same adapter. Let me turn off that other light over there. That's sort of in the way right now. Get my that's the wrong one. That one. Let me turn off the other one too. Okay, so we got a little less interference now with what's going on here. So let me hold this up and show you what I'm doing. I am going to power this guy on right over here. Right over here. See what we got? There we go. What's on the screen? I heard the beep. I don't have a keyboard and mouse. Let me put those on. Reboot and select the proper device. Oh, it couldn't find the boot drive, so that I don't have an operating system loaded on that drive, I guess. Can you guys hear me? I dropped something on my, okay. Let me put the mouse and keyboard on this PC. And we'll go into the BIOS at least. Sorry for all the noise. I'm dropping stuff all over the place. Got my mouse and keyboard. Let me plug them into where they belong. Let me do a reset. I'm pretty sure that this is a reset. Yep. And I'll hit delete. I think delete gets you into this one. There we go. So we're into the BIOS. That's an old BIOS. There's a lot of noise out of these fans. Both fans are running, so there's a lot of noise coming out of it. I don't have the cover on. The back fan and the front fan are both running. And as you can see, we have ignition, right? So there's the P8H61M LE-CSM R2. That's the motherboard. Last time I checked, that was the latest version. I haven't checked lately. It shows the fan speeds. The CPU is 1216 RPM. The case fan is 2500 RPM. And we're up. I just have to load the operating system on it. Let's see. Let me see if I can let's see if I can maneuver this old boot menu. Okay, it sees two things on the SATA. It sees a team 457.862 megabyte drive, and it sees the BD read writer. So it sees both drives here. Let me see if I can get a better angle so you can see what I'm talking about. That's these two right here. Let me show you. So here's the hard drive, this one in the middle, and then the top one is the BD read writer. It does see a Windows boot manager on there, so I'm not sure. Maybe I had Windows on there at one time. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to reload this and see what it looks like. I'm going to have to figure out how to control these fans a little bit better. So I'm going to be playing with this BIOS for a while before I try to reload it. The CPU is 34 degrees centigrade. The motherboard is 28. Okay. And is there a way to do fan control here? Let me see. Quiet. Is there a quiet mode? I'll be playing with this for a while. I haven't used this BIOS in a while. Let me go into advanced mode, enter advanced mode. And in here you got all the different options that you can do with the very old BIOS. It's up and running. It's got some crazy date and time on it. Well, it's got the right date, but it says 0206, the system time. So it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not there yet. So anyway, I think that's what I wanted to do for this. Let me switch back to the other camera. This thing is noisy, so I'm going to shut this thing down for now. I'm just going to do a power off. That way we don't have all that noise for now, until I can figure out how to control the speeds of that. Let me switch to the main camera. Okay, I think that accomplishes what I wanted to do in terms of this PC. I have some work I still have to do on it in terms of the BIOS configuration and also the software that has to run on it. But this is a big step forward. It's in the case and it's running. The other things I wanted to cover, I already talked about some of them. I did want to tell people, let me turn this other light on here so I can yeah, you can see me a little bit better. I did finally finish this book, the YouTube formula. It got a little dry in the middle, to be honest with you. I'm giving a quick review here. But once you get into part 3, especially chapter 20, that was amazing. I really got a lot out of that, tweaking your content. So that chapter there was one of the more valuable ones in it, but a lot of them were very handy. Part 1 was pretty motherhood and apple pie, as they refer to it, an American expression. And part 2, it started getting interesting, and then part 3 was the most valuable on that book. I also talked about the VidSummit. Let me show you that real quick. Open up a web browser here. Go to VidSummit. Okay. VidSummit. Summit 21. Let's go there, see what we got. Come on, get there. They really expanded upon this in terms of the information that they're providing. And you can see that there's a lot more detail in terms of what the agenda is going to be. Obviously, these are videos from previous years that are here, but there's a lot of conferences that are going to go on. They have the whole detailed schedule here, time and day. It's 2 full days, although it starts really Tuesday evening, right? Tuesday evening, the September 28th. I'll be there probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Registration is 3. And then they have like a kickoff party and networking from 7 to 10. The networking is as important as everything else here as far as I'm concerned. So these are the speakers. A lot of them are going in parallel. I have to make a decision which ones I want to see. There are some that I definitely want to see. Don't have to worry about how to use copyright material and get away with it. I can skip that one. Your viewers want you to succeed. I hope that's the case, right? This is a guy that works for YouTube, this Matt Koval. I've seen many videos from him. So that's going to be an interesting one. And one of the owners of VidSummit, Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson, he's got one of the keynotes. These three guys actually own it, I believe, right? Yeah. These are two of the three guys that own it. You see them later in the last day. They do the closing remarks together. So anyway, I just wanted to show you I will be there. I watched many videos that this young woman has done. She's going to be talking about keeping your accounts safe. I guess your YouTube accounts. It's an important thing. I didn't know she was into security. I know she did some network stuff, but you know, maybe I'll get a chance to talk to her. One thing about VidSummit is, according to what they claim, you get to meet a lot of these people in the corridors, in the hallways outside the rooms, and probably some of them sitting near you, because apparently they all go and join the audience for a lot of these sessions. So I'm looking forward to that. You're going to go to LTX again? Is it next year, not this year? Yeah, I didn't hear much about it for this year, did I? And then it continues on to the next day. There's certain people here I definitely want to watch. I have to go through it though and make decisions. I like this one too. I've seen a couple of this woman's videos about live streaming. They were interesting. And that's about it. That's all I wanted to say about that, I think. Let me go to main. Okay, so I went 45 minutes later than I had hoped. I had hoped I'd be done in an hour. Now it's an hour and 45 minutes. Well, at least I got this working. You know, it posts. That's one thing nice about that little speaker. You can hear it beep. The single beep means it posted. I got to figure out what's going on with the fans. I may change these fans out then. You know, maybe the fact that they're PWM and they're being run by a DC motherboard might be a problem. So I'll be playing with that, I think, unless I can find some settings in the BIOS to adjust that. And that's about it. Does anybody have any questions before we call it an evening here? Let's see. Yeah, I should change them, Catherine. I should change them to regular DC fans. I have a bunch of DC fans, both the 80 millimeter and the 120 millimeter. So it probably makes sense to me just to change them out. Now, quickly, let me show you how this mic is working. If I switch to the Samson, let me put the Samson on here, and I'll just go over to the mixer, and I'll lower the volume on the lapel. And now I've risen the volume up on the actual Samson. So I don't know if that sounds any better. I mean, it looks like it's registering okay. And you could do a lot of things with this. I mean, I could go ahead and give it some more bass if I wanted to, so that'll sound a little bit different there. I haven't tried that with the lapel microphone, but you know, those are types of controls that really have to do a lot with the. I can also give it the echoes if I want. How's that sound? That's probably echoing like a tunnel or something, right? Or a stadium. So I'll turn that off. So now I got the mixer working fine. I may need to get a longer reach for this microphone holder. It doesn't come close enough to me. But let me switch back to the lapel microphone. Okay, now I'm back on the lapel microphone, so this one can go back out of the way. So with that, I thank everybody, unless you have any other further questions. Yeah, it sounds darker, huh? Yeah. John O, thanks David. Always enjoy your videos. This was fun and interesting. Okay, a legacy one. Like I said, I've used this before. I've used this case before with a different motherboard. The one that's in my wife's PC now with an i9. what was it, an i9 9700K, I think, in it. And this motherboard was in that other case that she now has. So I did a switcheroo between the parts, between this case and that case, is really what it came down to. So I knew this would work, and this will be a step up considerably for what my daughter currently has, and she'll hopefully be able to, get it to work, more effectively remotely. I am going to add in, as I said, the additional USB 3.0. I don't know what to do with that cable. It's around here somewhere. But I will put that in there with the, here it is. I'll put that in there with the USB 3.0 adapter, and also I'm going to transfer the 1030, the NVIDIA 1030 card, gigabyte, into this one. So she'll get a decent video as well. And then it should be pretty much good. I'll change the fans out. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. And then I'll go ahead and see if I can get the USB 3.0 to work. And then once that's done, then the only thing left is to swap the video card over when I get it over to her house. So with that, covered a couple of miscellaneous topics too. I do appreciate everybody who was able to attend tonight, and hopefully you got something out of it. And be on the lookout for my next video. I'm going to be traveling, so I'm going to try to make a product review. I have a product review that I got to do. Let me take a look here. It's sitting. Yeah, here we go. This is a personal amplifier. I've done a couple of these before, from the same company actually. This Windbridge. Now they sent me another one. This one looks like it's probably going to be really good, but we'll find out once I take it out and test it. Because the first one I got from them was good, quite good. It had wireless microphones to it, both a handheld one and a headset. The headset didn't have much range on it and didn't sound that good. We'll see how this one does. But I'm going to try to get this video done and have it up there while I'm away on Wednesday. We'll see how that goes tomorrow. It shouldn't be a long video. And other than that, I'm going to be doing some videotaping out in the... I'll be using my Sony camera here to do some vlogging type. But I want to try to catch some of the other celebrities, the YouTube celebrities on this, and maybe I can be in the video. And I'll turn it into at least a couple of videos, I think, in the end. I'll turn this off right now. So we're done with that. Okay, so for the third time, I thank you, and I'm going to call the stream done at this point at just 9 minutes shy of 2 hours. So take care.